This is Jonathan Aguilar here for Pro Boxing Fans. Delighted to be joined by unbeaten middleweight Derrick Osaze. Delboy, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Good. Can't complain. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Doing all right. First question is, are you a bit of a
Yeah,
darts player?
I'm a bit of a.
Darts player? I can see the
You
board
know
in the back.
what? recreationally, I've been. It's my backup plan just in case this boxing thing doesn't work out. No, I'm joking. I went. Where did I go? I think I went to one of my coaches, Mark Howe. His brother owned like a pub. So we went there to like for the launching one day, and they had a darts board. I was throwing a few darts, and I thought, you know what, I quite like this. So I've got a darts board. And just on a random day, I might just stand there and just chuck darts at a board. It's therapeutic.
Yeah, a great lockdown game, I reckon.
Yeah, yeah. I won't be challenging any of the Phil Taylors or them guys anytime soon, but
Not yet,
I can
not
hold
yet.
my own. No.
Um, you're back out November 10th.
Yeah,
On the Boxer card, you signed with Boxer just recently. Just speak
yeah.
about why you signed a promotional deal with Boxer after obviously winning Ultimate Boxer last year.
I think for me, we had a couple table. We had a couple offers on the table. We were speaking to maybe one or two other promoters, like mainstream promoters. And I think for me at the time, I think when we sort of kind of weighed everything up, I felt like going signing with Boxer was probably the next best step for me. Um, just because there were things that Boxer could guarantee at this stage of my career that maybe other promoters might not be able to. Another aspect as well is that I like the fact that Boxer is a growing promotion. Um, where obviously there's myself, Mikhailo Wow. Do you know what I mean? It's a young, vibrant promotion that's growing, and that's something that I want to be a part of and grow with it as well. And I think another thing as well, I wouldn't have to worry about um, not getting the exposure or not getting the time and effort being put into my career. Um, that's something I don't have to worry about with Boxer. So for me, at this stage of my career, it was a no-brainer.
Obviously, yeah, you mentioned Mikhailo Wow, Jack Fincham as well.
Yeah,
Recently signed a deal
yeah,
with them. Um, just talk to me a bit about November 10th back out. Been a while, obviously through the pandemic
yeah,
and other reasons. Talk to me about sort
yeah,
of, how you're feeling
yeah.
this return.
You know what? It's not even a. I can't even say it's a feeling of excitement. It's past that. It's like relief because it has been a while. The last time I boxed was last September. I was meant to be out in December, but the show was cancelled 3 or 4 days before due to unforeseen circumstances. Then beginning of the year, I picked up an injury. I was in a boot and on crutches for about 2 or 3 weeks at the start of the year because I tore a muscle in my calf. So literally, I just got back into full training at the beginning of March, and then 3 weeks in, it was lockdown. So which has obviously been it has its pros and cons. It was frustrating, during lockdown. But I think the first thing for me during lockdown was telling myself, making sure I understand that look, this is not going to go away after a couple of weeks. So I had to sort of kind of stomach the fact that I may not be boxing for a while. But since we've been back in full training since June, I've been itching to get back into the ring. So like I would have been ready to go in August or September or October. So the fact that it's 10th of November, do you know what I mean? It's yeah. I'm grateful to be boxing as well because there's a lot of boxers. I know a lot of boxers as well who are not able to get the opportunity to fight right now. It was only over a year ago I was on the small hall circuit as well. So I am very grateful and I'm thankful that I do have the opportunity just to get my career on the move again. So yeah, man, I'm excited, but more I'm just relieved to finally have a date confirmed, man, and I just can't wait. I feel like a bit of like I feel like a caged animal, man. I feel like I've just been stuck in a box for a while in terms of not being able to fight for so long. But I'm grateful to God that this opportunity has come by, so I can't wait.
What sort of pace do you want to be moved at? Obviously, you're 10-0. Three of those fights came in one night, winning the Ultimate Boxer. So
Yeah,
I guess you're relatively still, quite new to the professional game, despite having 10
yeah,
fights.
yeah,
So
yeah.
have you had any conversations with Boxer how quickly you want to get moved?
Yeah, like in terms of obviously my team, I still have my manager Jimmy Gill. Obviously, Boxer are my promoters, but my manager Jimmy Gill is the one behind who sort of kind of obviously has the say in terms of the decisions made and to progress my career as well. But for me, I'm in the middle. When I say I'm in the middle, like I always say that boxer for me winning UB3 wasn't a shortcut. I didn't see it as a shortcut. I don't believe I'm owed anything or I should be fast tracked or anything just because I won boxer tournament. Do you know what I mean? At the same time, I understand that due to winning the tournament and some of the caliber of the opponents I've beat, it does mean that I may have skipped certain stages, if that makes sense. So for me personally, when it comes down to that, I will progress as fast as my coach and my team and obviously the guys at Boxer feel that I should be progressed. You know what I mean? I'm always ready to fight anyone. That's to say that if they said tomorrow Derrick could fight and then a 10-round title fight, I'm like, let's go. If it's Derrick tomorrow you're fighting and an 8-rounder, just one to tick over or whatnot, keep progressing, then let's go. Do you know what I mean? I'll fight anyone, fight anywhere. I'm not bothered about um I don't really pay much attention to okay, I want to have this fight or I want to fight this guy. I just leave it to my team and they tell me what date and who and that's it. So that's down to them really. But it would be nice to get a title around my waist very soon. I was already looking at boxing for the area title before the boxer tournament, and I was made mandatory for it after as well. And even for the area title, many people thought that because in boxer I'd already beat area champions already. Like me fighting for the area title was kind of not like a waste of time, but maybe like I'm past that level. But even at that, a fight is a fight to me, and at the end of the day, it was a belt as well. So I was prepared to fight for that. I was mandatory for a year. No one stepped forward to fight me for it. So I guess that told me that maybe I'm actually past that level. We've been looking at English. So I'd love to get a belt around my waist, but in terms of how far I progress and how quickly, that's down to my team. But there's not much miles on this clock.
I've noticed that you're not into sort of calling people out. It's more just the titles
Nah,
that you want.
100%. Because it's nothing personal. You know what I mean? If I mention the title, like if I say I want the English title, if that's around your waist and the target's on your back, I'm not going to say your name because if you relinquish that title, I have no interest in you after that. Do you know what I mean? So it's just me. I just want to win. I'm old. I feel like I'm a new school boxer with an old school mentality. I will literally just, contrary to what some other boxers are saying, I actually will fight anyone, anytime, any place, and I just want to get as many belts as possible. So yeah, that's what I'm more interested in. I don't wake up or go to sleep thinking about I want to fight this guy. No, I wake up thinking about what belt I'm gonna go to bed with after I win it.
Have
Do
you
you
have
know what
you
I mean? So
sparred many
that's
of these
me.
guys? Sorry, have you sparred many of these guys?
Yeah, I sparred a few of them. In terms of sparring, I stay quite under the radar when it comes to sparring because you never know who you're fighting. Like I sparred Kieran Conway months before UB3. I ended up fighting him. Obviously, with me being in Nottingham, obviously we have a wealth of talent up here in the Millers and stuff. So I sparred a few of them. Names I don't even need to mention because I think sparring is meaningless. But it seems like the sparring story. I never talk about sparring, but it seems like sparring stories have got round because even before UB3, some boxers came up to me and said, yeah, you're the danger and you want to look out. I've heard about you in sparring. I said, huh? And even I was a bit baffled myself because I don't really talk about sparring. I don't look at sparring. Do you know what I mean? Like, if anyone comes out of the sparring session and takes extreme confidence with that, then kudos to them. So yeah, so I sparred a few guys.
Um, Without obviously you're not going to call him out, but I'm sure you would have actually watched last night's boxing with Buatsi against Kalic, and yeah, the English title
Yeah, yeah,
fight, Linus Udoka
yeah.
and Harding. What did you make of it?
Do you know what? I haven't actually watched that fight yet because I think that was the first night on the show.
Was
So I had church yesterday, so obviously being that it's a Sunday, so I got back late. So by the time I had got back, I think I just caught round 3 of the John Hedges fight. So I joined on them quite late. So I haven't seen it, but I heard the result. I wasn't surprised, really. Obviously, I knew that. I thought that Lions Philadelphia might be a bit too much for John Harding, but credit to both of them. Credit to John, obviously, for stepping up to take the fight. So yeah, that's a title that we have for a long time put our name in with the British Board of Boxing. I know boxing is not as straightforward as it seems. Like for instance, like John Harding fought for the title last year against Jack Cullen, and he wasn't successful that time. So even how he managed to get a second opportunity in the space of maybe a year and a bit just goes to show that it's not always straightforward in boxing. Do you know what I mean? Because the last thing we were told with the English title, the British Board of Boxing, that prior to lockdown there was a few final eliminators taking place. So I'm sure there's quite a few people queuing up for that title. But yeah, like I haven't watched the fight back when I do. But in terms of like kudos to both of them, you know what I'm saying? Being able to box on that platform. It is a title I'd love to get my hands on. If the opportunity presents itself, then great. If it doesn't, I'm not going to sit around hanging around waiting for the English title. I'm going to kick on and push on for other stuff. But in terms of the whole show was great. Obviously, big congrats to my boy Joshua Buatsi. That was a great fight. Do you know what I mean? Very great fight. I know you had to overcome a rough patch during some of the earlier rounds. I never had any doubts that he was going to stop Kalic late on because yeah, Josh is just a different type of animal, man. He's a different breed, literally, and I think he's one of those type of guys where if in the ring when he went through, like I say, a rough, like let's say a little bit of a rough patch, I think he gets more dangerous as time goes on. Do you know what I mean? So it's that mentality: kill or be killed. But yeah, overall good show, man. Looked like a great show. Interesting being on a Sunday, but yeah.
You and Buatsi, Joshua Buatsi, go back quite a long way, if I understand correctly.
yeah. We went same college together. Buatsi and Isaac Dogboe. We went to the same college in Southwest London, Clapham. So yeah, man, we go way back. I remember me and Josh was in like the same religious studies class, which is always interesting. But yeah, no, Josh, like, you can run out of good things to say about the guy, man. Like, from the moment I've met him, even before I knew he was a boxer, there's just a level of humility that accompanies his personality. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is quite infectious. And it was so interesting to find out, even with him and Isaac Dogboe, it was so interesting to find out that they were boxers and what they had achieved and their character and how they carried themselves in comparison to their achievement at the time just didn't make sense because they were just so humble in comparison to what they did. Like, and bear in mind, at the time in college, I'd started boxing, maybe like I'd been boxing for 2 years, but I hadn't had any fights. Do you know what I mean? And I remember Josh at the time was talking about the Olympics. I remember him talking about like trying to go for 2012, that he was going to wait for 2016. So seeing him, go that way and get his bronze medal was amazing because I still remember the day when he said that in college. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, I was at Dogboe as well, talking about that. He said that he was going to go through Ghana, do that Olympic route in 2012. And so for him to even pick up a world title, like, so it's inspiring because obviously at the time when I met them, I'd been boxing, but I hadn't had any fights yet. So to see what they've achieved now and just, yeah, man, it's an honor to know people like that.
So when you met them, they were boxing, and you just sort of started. Is that how you got friends with them through?
Yeah. So so in college, I would have been about 17, 16. I started college about age 16. So I'd been boxing for about a year before then. I hadn't had any fights yet. I had my medical card, I'd been sparring. The reason why I hadn't had any amateur fights, by the time I was ready to have my first amateur fights, GCSEs popped up, and my mum just wasn't having it. I wasn't getting any work done. I literally, because I was already about an hour and a half commute from my school, I would literally go to school, go straight to boxing, come home at like 10 p.m. and just go straight to sleep. So I had to sort of kind of put boxing on the back burner a bit while I finished my GCSEs. So, but all throughout that period, it was still lingering in my head that I still want to box. I still want to box. I still want to compete. So at the time, I had maybe like one foot in, one foot out. I was still training here and there. So to see guys like Isaac and Josh in college and talk to them about what they're doing in boxing and what they achieved and their goals, it was definitely inspirational. Like it was definitely inspiring. And I know Isaac even mentioned at one point he didn't even know that I was boxing. I remember speaking to them. I know I mentioned I had boxed, but I didn't mention, you know, what I wanted to do in boxing, or I didn't have any fights by then. So yeah, it was inspiring to see what they were doing and just to see like, two like-minded people. I'm big on my faith as well. My faith in God is important to me. So as I said, I find it interesting that me and Josh was in the same RE class. So for me, but not only was it inspiring, um, to see what they were doing in a sport that I was passionate about, but it was also inspiring to see just how they carry themselves in terms of their faith. And so big inspirations.
Yeah, I know Josh is very much dedicated to his faith like yourself. For those
Yeah,
that don't know, just talk to me about your role in the church and what you do in the community.
yeah. So I'm an ordained minister. I'm a youth pastor. So a lot of the work I do is within the youth ministry with young people. So I'm part of a church called God's Vineyard Ministries, and we're very much a big youth orientated ministry. We have a youth group called Radical Youth, which basically operates as a society in about 27 different universities, where it's like student led fellowship. They meet up once a week. You know what I mean? Pray together, worship together, go and do events together and stuff like that. It's all about ensuring that sort of kind of maximizing your potential and your faith in God. So that's how I got involved with it. I came to uni. I'm originally from London. Came up to Nottingham. Sort of kind of hadn't really taken my faith seriously for about 2 years. I hadn't gone to church prior to that for about 2 years, and then I found God's Vineyard Ministries in my final year of uni. I found the youth group in my final year of uni, and just one thing led to another. The rest was history. I took my faith in God a lot more seriously again. I just saw patterns of certain things happening in my life. Got involved with leadership, and yeah, about 3 or 4 years later, I was ordained as a youth minister. So a lot of the work I do is we get a lot of the students that come to our ministry from the universities. Um, we travel to a lot of different universities, speaking to young people and whatnot. So that's more or less the church side. Also from a community aspect, um, I run my own organization called AIM Youth, which stands for Aspire, Inspire, Motivate. So we're basically an ultimate education provider. So we're going to schools, working with kids that maybe kids that are having a rough time in school, probably the kids that are probably on the verge of being kicked out and stuff. We do intervention, mentoring sessions. I've done a lot of motivational talks and assemblies in schools as well. That's something I'm really passionate about because, believe it or not, I almost got permanent excluded from school. So I was in and out of trouble. That's why I got into boxing. So I kind of understand where they're coming from. So I sort of kind of like going back to schools and working with people that sort of kind of remind me of me and sort of kind of helping steer them in the right way. So yeah, so that's it really. How I found myself doing all this stuff, I don't know really. It was just God, and I've always just sort of kind of pursued things I'm passionate in, and that's just sort of kind of how it all came about. So I'm passionate about my faith in God. I'm passionate about your young people. I'm passionate about boxing. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna sort of touch on that and how you've sort of got to the point you've got to where you're now in the position where you're a role model to these kids. And does it take you back to see how far you've come from the day that you were on the other side of that, and now you're basically trying to advise them to get on the right path? Is it is
Yeah,
it
it does.
strange?
It does take me back. It makes me laugh a lot of the time. I do. I sometimes sit down and I laugh at myself. Even when I'm in church sometimes, and I'm obviously a lot of the work we do as a youth pastor is there's a lot of mentoring, counselling, and at the beginning it was something that took me a while to get used to. People wanted mentoring people and being a sort of source of inspiration or advising people. And sometimes on my own, I'd sit down and just have flashbacks of my own childhood growing up and sort of kind of my turbulent experiences in school. And I laugh at myself. And when I say I laugh at myself, it kind of reminds me more of my faith in God and just how like it reminds me how God is great, because I really couldn't be in this position of even being referred to as a role model, if not God didn't place me here. Do you know what I mean? So more times I think I'm winging it, because sometimes I sit there and I ask myself, I'm like, nah, this doesn't make sense. Like, I shouldn't really be here. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be here boxing at the level I'm boxing at now. I shouldn't be in the one talking in schools and stuff, like inspiring people. I shouldn't be the one in church that are pastoring and mentoring people. That's the way I look at it. So for me, having that in the back of my mind, it always remains a massive honor to do what I do. So I don't take it for granted, because I really feel like I just wasn't meant to be here, if I'm being honest.
That's great. And how do the students and the kids react when they hear that you're a professional boxer?
It's funny because they never really believe at first, because obviously, especially when I do the assemblies and stuff, like I'm a playful character. I'm a bit of a prankster, but sometimes I can be very introverted and just quiet. So normally with the assemblies, and like they come in, and I come into a group of maybe like 100 of students and stuff, and I'm always just standing by the side. I don't really say nothing, and obviously the teacher may introduce me as, yeah, professional boxer. So you get the curious faces like, all right, what's this guy about? He doesn't really look like a boxer. And I always tell people that's a compliment. I don't want to look like a boxer. Do you know what I mean? If I don't look like a fighter, then that's good. And normally, like sometimes the teachers would have found like clips on YouTube or stuff, or I'd have like a little intro video, and you see some highlights, and then from then it's like it's the fascination of this guy standing here laughing and joking in front of us. That's the guy that's up there trying to kick someone dead off. So I guess it's always the interesting element, and that sort of kind of draws them in. And I think that sort of kind of just makes them comfortable to open up about, things that they're experiencing and what they're going through. And more or less, I always try to the message I try to put across is, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Because I started very, very bad. Um, but I'd like to think that, with the grace of God, I'm ending well. So yeah, but I like the compliment that you don't look like a boxer. I like that, because I don't want to look like a boxer. It means I'm taking too many shots.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess people sort of instantly look up to you because you're on TV, you're becoming famous, and I guess they sort of instantly respect you. And boxing's becoming more popular, in the
Yeah,
country, especially the last few years.
yeah, yeah. It's even the way you say it like that. It sounds a bit surreal, because I still see myself as just the normal average Joe that just sort of kind of, chased his dream, chased what he was passionate about, whether it be faith or boxing, and just kind of was unapologetically myself. So I don't see. Sometimes I sit here, and when you put it like that, I still don't think like I've done anything out extraordinary or done anything extremely special. I've literally just sort of kind of pursued what I'm passionate about, being my faith, being boxing, being working with young people. So it's yeah, it's a funny feeling, like, you know what I mean, like, yeah, and I think sort of kind of, um, I'm guessing that's probably where I can relate to a lot of people, or so I've been told, because I sort of kind of don't walk around with a chip on my shoulder, or, you know what I mean, or stuff like that. So like it's kind of, yeah, it is kind of weird. Like I was in Sainsbury's the other day, and I was at the checkout, and I picked up an energy drink. And now, because you have to show your ID and stuff, and the guy came over to me and was like, "Oh my days, I'll follow you on Instagram." And it was this awkward laugh, like, because even I'm
Yeah.
not used to stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, oh, and it was like, yeah, like I'm really following your career, like your next fight. And he knew when I was fighting next and stuff like that. And it was kind of like, oh wow, like this is, yeah. At the first element, it was cool. The next element, I thought, this guy just saw me pick up an energy drink. I better just put this in my pocket and get out of the shop quickly. um, but yeah, it's surreal. It's surreal. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Just on a few more on questions on you. Your style, you can do sort of bit of everything, come forward, slick boxer. I just wondered sort of how that developed. Is it through certain fighters you used to watch, or is it just
Yeah.
is it just over time?
Um, I don't know. I would just like to think, uh, in terms of in life, I like to think I'm quite an adaptable person. Um, like yeah, I just like to think I'm very adaptable. Like I remember at the beginning of my amateur career, very much more of a boxer, point scoring. I think I went through a phase in my amateur career where just became this sort of kind of aggressive front foot fighter. And then maybe I'm at this point now where it's a blend of the two. I've watched a lot of boxers, obviously, growing up. Obviously, your Mike Tyson's, Roy Jones. Obviously, I didn't grow up at the time they were boxing. Definitely not Tyson. Obviously, towards the end of his career, but look back at their fights and Ali and stuff. So I'd say I'm more inspired by those boxers and their careers and how they carried themselves and stuff like that. It's very rarely that I watch boxers and I maybe take elements of their technique and stuff or try to copy or whatnot. I try to focus on being the best version of myself. And in terms of like being like a box fighter, like or whatever, I think I just adapt to what's in front of me, because even I used to get asked this question all the time, like, how would you describe your style? And I didn't know how to answer because I could box one, I'd fight one way in one fight, and then the next fight I'd look completely different. So I think I just adapt to what's in front of me. If I need to box, I'll box. If I need to fight, I'll fight. But I think for me, it's just what you're guaranteed. You're going to get someone who's determined more than ever to win, and he's going to do that by any means necessary, whether that's boxing, whether that's fighting. Do you know what I mean? Even if that means I have to throw the same shot 10 times. If I land that shot 7 out of 10 times, then you saw it coming 7 out of 10 times and didn't stop it. So I'm not really into the whole trying to look a certain way, trying to be box a certain way, trying to entertain or have an entertaining style, bloody blah. I don't really get into that, man. My job as a boxer is to win, is to hit and not be hit. And if I'm doing that and I'm improving and my coaches are happy with how I'm performing, that's all that matters. I don't get drawn into that whole having this type of style boxing like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's even the way you describe my style is probably better than how I describe it myself. So
Yeah.
I might have to take that snippet and like cut that out. So when people ask me, Derrick, what's your style? And I'm going to play that and say, well, Jonathan says my style's like this, and I'm going to quote that everywhere.
Thank you. I'll send it to you.
No, I love it.
November 10th. Any indication on who the
Yeah.
opponent is?
Yeah, there's been a few names mentioned. I think all the two names that have been mentioned are, I'd say, I think around about top 20 ranked middleweights in the UK. Um, the two opponents that have been mentioned, I probably had around the same number of fights. I think about like 14 fights, both with winning records. So um, whoever I fight, it should be a very good fight, and it'd be a good fight to sort of kind of get me back into the ring, but also at the same time ensuring that I'm progressing. You know what I mean? Because I've had 10 fights, but none of my fights have been past 4 rounds. My last fight was a scheduled 6 rounder, and it ended in the second. So I'm not here to sit here and be like, yeah, that I'm ready to go into 12 rounds. I still want to, go through the channels properly. So hopefully this one should be an 8 rounder and against a good opponent that's not just going to stand there and dance around and let me hit them, but who's going to come to win. So yeah, but I'm ready. I'm ready. Like I said, I've been in the gym. I haven't boxed in over a year, but I've been in the gym non-stop since. I'm always in the gym. Do you know what I mean? Even when I haven't got a fight coming up, I'm in the gym twice a day. Do you know what I mean? 5 days a week. So anyone would be silly to think that I'm out of shape or I'm not in like fighting condition. I've been sparring, I've been training. So yeah, man, I can't wait. I'm ready. I'm ready. Like I said, I just can't wait to express myself because it's been a while.
Someone you're in the gym with, Echo Estevan,
Yeah,
the English welterweight champion, beat Cedric
yeah,
last time out. Anyone
yeah.
you'd like to see him face next, as he spoke about who he wants?
Um, Echo, as in, first of all, like, obviously, got to big up my boy, Echo. If not for Echo, I probably wouldn't be boxing now.
Really?
Like, yeah, before, so Echo was already training with our current coach, Barrington Brown. And at that time, as an amateur, I was becoming a bit disillusioned with boxing. And then I suffered a very controversial decision in championships. And I was just getting tired of the politics of boxing and just And I sort of kind of needed something new. I felt like I wasn't really learning anything about Amsterdam at the time. I felt like I needed something to bring us at the next level. And me and Echo, we'd known of each other. Like there was a few times even on our runs, ran past each other, and that time we hadn't really spoke yet. And I remember there was a time we went down to his amateur gym to spar. And I think from then after sparring him, we got talking and stuff. And there was so much that Echo was just telling me about myself, my style, and this and that. A lot of things that I didn't see in myself. And I remember after that, I remember just always seeing videos of Echo training with my current coach now, Barrington Brown. I remember just messaging him like would your coach train me? And that was about this time almost 5 years ago, and the rest was history. So I always can't not throw that story in there. And Echo's sort of kind of he's a massive inspiration. You know what I'm saying? He's like a big brother. You know what I'm saying? So, but in terms of who he fights next, he's made his intentions clear that he wants the British and he wants, the Commonwealth, which is Jenkins got it. Before lockdown, he had a final eliminator penciled in, I think. Obviously, I don't know where Connor's Ben name just got thrown into the hat, but money talks. But so whoever's got the British or the Commonwealth, I think that's who he'd probably want to fight next. If that is Connor Ben, if he beats Jenkins, if that fight happens, then so be it. If that's Jenkins, so be it. But like Echo was saying, we just want to collect them all, a bit like Pokemon. We want to collect all the belts. So I'm very sure that he'd be wanting the British and the Commonwealth next. So whoever's got it, then whether it's Baker or not, that's what he wants.
There you go. Derrick, thanks for coming on. Punching Preacher. We get to see it back.
I appreciate it.
November 10th.
I appreciate it, man.
No worries.
I appreciate it. You're a cool interview. I like you, man.
Cheers, mate.
I feel like this is not an interview. I feel like we're having a casual conversation. Like it's cool. It doesn't feel like yeah, I like it. I don't like your kit, but I like you, man.
This won't be on camera, so it's cool.
Oh, cool,
it's deadline day, so it kind of has to be done.
No worries.
Shout out your social media. How do we all follow you?
So find me on social media. I'm literally Dogboe Osaze on everything. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. So if you just type Dogboe Osaze, I also got a website, dogboeosaze.com. So that's Dogboe and then Osaze. So yeah, pretty easy to find. So yeah, follow the journey, man. Follow the journey, support. It wouldn't be possible, obviously without you guys. And a massive thank you to everyone who supported up until now, to everyone who's kind of helped be a part of this journey and help me be here, including no sponsors and stuff. I'm not going to try to name all of them because I want to forget someone. But they all know who they are. Thank you for your help and support. And yeah, man, follow the journey onwards and upwards.
Wicked. Derrick, I'll let you get on the rest of your day, and we'll catch up hopefully after your fight.
Sweet, man. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Have a great day, yeah?